Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2024 film Destroy All Neighbors. It's a Shudder original, and it's coming to Shudder on Friday, January 12th, so this is a no-spoiler review. I'm going to tell you off the bat, I had a lot of fun with this film. It's a horror comedy, very much on the comedy side, and not much on the horror side. Well, I mean, there is like horror-ish stuff, but when stuff's happening, it never feels horrific. So it's just light and fun and ridiculous and funny, and it's a good time. And I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy this film. This is a great way for Shudder to start off the new year with their originals and exclusives. So I'm recommending this one for sure. Everyone check this one out. Film's directed by Josh Forbes, who did Contracted Phase 2 and a lot of music videos. And I will say that you can see a lot of music video influence in this. This is a music-heavy film, mainly because of the reason that it's about a guy who's trying to finish an album that he's been working on of, like, progressive rock. He's a little, like, snooty about, like, the whole prog rock thing, which is played to comedic effect. But he's trying to do this, but he has this issue where he's living in this apartment complex. He has a lot of annoying neighbors, which I know a lot of people can understand that stuff. And he has a really hard time getting anything done because he thinks it's all these neighbors who are causing him to keep his creative juices from flowing enough to finish this project. And he kind of outwardly gets angry, and horror things happen. Some people end up dying. So you can infer some things from the title, but yeah, that's basically what it is. Anyway, written by Mike Benner, who wrote a bunch of episodes of Bob's Burgers, Apple and Onion, and Danger Mouse. Interesting to note. Newer Danger Mouse, not like old original Danger Mouse. And Jared Logan, who wrote, was a writer for The Late Show with James Corden, and also Charles A. Pieper. This has Jonah Ray in it. I believe he goes by Jonah Rodriguez now. Thomas Lennon, Kumail Nanjiani, and Alex Winter. So if what I've already said has not gotten you interested in wanting to see this film, that cast being named really should. Going into it, I was very excited because of that cast, and they don't disappoint at all. The acting is quite good in this film, and not just quite good, but it's very fun and light and enjoyable, which is really what you want for this type of film. They do a really good job of striking the exact right tone for a horror, like a ridiculous horror comedy. And yeah, it's just, it's a fun time. There's nothing to take serious here. This story is very kind of simple and light, so just know that it's not going to get like super rich and like throw all these twists and turns at you and everything. It's just light, funny fun. So I can get down with that. The opening credits and music that goes with it says quirky fun is coming. They do a really good job of establishing immediately what type of film you're about to be watching, which I like, because there are definitely times where films will kind of like leave you in the lurch, where you're trying to figure out what are we going for here, and they'll go a bunch of scenes, sometimes even like a half an hour or more into the film, and you're like, I can't fully figure out which way we're supposed to be feeling here. Are we going like more serious, more over the top ridiculous? But these guys, they let you know out of the gate, it's going to be quirky, it's going to be fun, it's going to be upbeat, and it ends up moving very, very well. That's another thing, is pacing a lot of the times is problematic, but for film, I mean, for a lot of horror films, and it's a hard thing to get right. But in this film, I think they did a really good job of keeping things moving with having a lot of kind of like weird out there things happening, and B, when those things weren't happening, they were throwing good comedy at you, because, it's got to have at least decent comedy being a horror comedy, although there are some horror comedies that have been released that really aren't very funny, but this one does a good job with that. That was my next thing I put down, is that the comedy is pretty good. It's not like the most laugh out loud comedy for me, but there's a lot of kind of like more low-key comedic things. Some of the things could kind of like slide past you a little bit if you're not fully paying attention, say you're talking to someone you're watching it with. But I think on a few viewings, you would probably end up catching all of kind of like the low-key comedy moments. But it's fun. It's kind of more of like a everyday type humor, like situational humor that a lot of people can probably connect to. Some of the stuff I really could connect to, and I was just like, oh, that's pretty funny. They have a bunch of real fun characters in this. That's one of the great things too. It's not just about throwing comedy out there and having good acting and having decent dialogue, which they do have some pretty good dialogue, but they have quirky, weird, fun characters. So it's this combination of the way the characters are played and the way the characters are written, and they have just enough quirky, fun characters that get introduced to you and they reoccur in the story that you're just very entertained. I mean, there's so much entertainment factor in this film itself. There's some real relatable stuff in this having to do with neighbors who aren't the best. I know about that one. I'm very, very relatable to me in particular. Something, I mean, there's one of the big things, this doesn't really ruin anything, but the main character is trying to work on his album. He has one neighbor he's sharing the wall with who just is like bumping music. I've been there. I've had that problem. I live in a townhouse, and that is a very real thing. So I think a lot of people are going to really feel the frustration of Jonah's character. And he really does bring that character to life. I think he did a really good job. And it's tough because a lot of people won't necessarily think of him as doing a really great job because everyone else in it, for the most part, gets to just have kind of like fun with their role and be ridiculous and be over the top, which sounds like a good time to me. But Jonah had to play things a lot more straight, and I think he did a really good job doing that. And he's kind of the glue that keeps the movie from getting too. It like keeps it together in the sense of not getting too ridiculous. Like if you don't have his more straight type character in there, and I just mean straight acting wise, not sexuality or anything, obviously, but if you don't have his character in there, things would just like spin off and just get too ridiculous and too outlandish, and you wouldn't be able to focus on much. So he kind of like helps there be like a real through line to the actual story and everything. I do like the prosthetics used in this film for the most part, especially the ones on Alex Winter. Although I will say in a few scenes you can see that the flesh tone on his facial prosthetics do not match his actual skin color. So a little bit problematic, but again, I bet a lot of people actually aren't going to catch that because they won't be paying that much attention. It just happened to be seen by me in one scene in particular. So it's a lower budget, more independent film. These types of things are going to happen. Plus, the practical effects are fun and cool, but at times, like, you can tell they're definitely, like, practical effects. You can tell they look kind of fake-ish. But, it's a horror comedy. It's, like, light and ridiculous and over the top, so those things are pretty easy to just kind of be like, that's what it is. It does seem like Alex Winter in particular had so much fun with his role. It's a very interesting character, can become a little bit grating from time to time. I think maybe his character, they went a little bit too hard on with putting him in the script, but you could tell Alex Winter had a great time. I would probably have fun trying to play a character like that, and it's just always awesome to see actors who are just having a good time, like Nicolas Cage a lot of the times you can tell is just having a good time. There's some good practical effects fun with nice amounts of blood. I already talked about how I like the practical effects in it, but there's also a lot of blood that they end up throwing into it, so that's fun. Nice viscera that they throw into this one, and it was a lot more than I was actually expecting, so thumbs up on that one. The music in the movie, quite good. I really like the music they use. I like how they used it, and it really did help in keeping the film light and upbeat, and it like to some degree it makes it feel like it moves the movie a little bit more as well, so I like that. Again, pacing is pretty good with this film. I'm a fan of that. The lighting, color choices, a lot of fun, matches everything else with the film I've been talking about. They went with fun, kind of over the top colors, sometimes a lot coming at you at once, and that just kind of speaks to kind of the attitude of this film and the atmosphere of it. There is CGI used in it, and the CGI is not the best. Good thing is they don't focus on it too long, so they kind of get things moving, but, it's a lower budget film. CGI is not going to be the best, so expect that. And it gets pretty wild at the end. I do like where they ended up taking it. I like where it ended, and I didn't see any of this really. Well, there's aspects in the beginning of the film I saw coming, but past that, like once you get the main premise established, I didn't really know where it was going to go. And that's fun for me. And I'm sure it's fun for a lot of people. So I do recommend this one. My last thought on it is it feels a lot like a much better version of a full moon movie. I really don't like full moon movies, but it has the feel of like this is the core of what a full moon movie is, but done a lot better. Like what full moon probably should be doing, in my opinion. But hey, that's just my opinion. But out of 5 stars, half stars in play, between 3 and 3.5. I think the fun factor, though, and just seeing how much people put into this and had a good time with it, I'm going to bump it up to 3.5. But no, it's a close call for me. So if I was doing quarters, it'd be more like a 3.25. But I'm going to go 3.5 on my official. But hey, this is where I'd like to hear your thoughts on the film. If you've seen it at this point when you're watching it, or after you see it, you can come back here, go ahead and put it in the comments, and let's talk. You know, did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you in between on it? And just give me a sentence or two letting me know why, and we can get nerdy about that one. Also, do me a favor and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That's your best way to repay me for all this free content. You can like this video if you want to help me out with that YouTube algorithm, and you can hit the notification bell button if you want to know when I'm putting up new videos, which I'm doing quite a lot at this point. But anyway, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this video. I do appreciate that. Your time means a lot to you, and when you spend it watching my videos, that does mean a lot to me. I do not take that lightly, so thank you so much. But anyway, thanks everyone, and until next time, keep it brutal.